A very good morning to all the authorities for being responsible to this platform and to all the participants who are the essence of this particular program. I am glad to announce that we have set on to the fourth day of the 5-day student certification course titled Skills That Everyone Should Master. At this juncture, I would like to introduce our resource person today, Mrs. S. Archana Madam. Mrs. Archana Madam has won the tag of Anurag University for the past 4 years. Her overall 10 years of experience in teaching excelled her in imparting skills. She is an efficient teacher and a prolific reader. Her interest in teaching and specification and reading skills is the reason of this platform today. Today's topic is tips to improve reading comprehension skills. Now, I would like to hand over the session to our resource person today, Mrs. Archana Madam. Thank you.
Good morning to all dear students. How are you doing well? Hope so you are doing well. So let us start today's topic. Yes, hope so you're all ready. Yeah. So our topic for today's webinar is how to improve, tips to improve reading comprehension skills. Yes. So when we start reading, right, in our day-to-day life, we are engaged with something or the other. We will be reading, right? We are engaged with the reading. So now, what for we read and why do we read, right? So why do we read? We generally read to get information for pleasure or for interest. And what do we read? We read newspapers, magazines, diagrams, maps, letters, manuals, instructions, advertisements, etc. And also we read novels, plays, poems, lyrics, etc. Now, so we read to get some information, and also we read for pleasure or out of interest. And what is involved when we read? We read newspapers, magazines, diagrams or maps, letters, manuals, instructions, advertisements, etc. and novels for pleasure. So here, when we just go through reading, we read out of pleasure and we read to gain some information. So here, when we read for search of some information, okay, as a student, we read textbooks, okay, to get some information, to know the information which is beyond our knowledge. Okay, so this is called academic reading. And when we read for pleasure or interest, such type of reading is called, yes, general reading. So here, as a student, we need to develop general reading strategies as a part of academic reading. Now, what actually is the reading? What actually is the reading, right? Reading is a process of looking at a series of written symbols and getting meaning from them. When we read, we use our eyes, to receive written symbols. So what are these written symbols include? It may be letters or punctuation marks and spaces, and we use our brain to convert them into words, sentences, and paragraphs that communicate something to us. Now here, these 4 lines which defines reading, generally we read, like generally we carry with the reading skills, wherein I can say that when you search for information, it doesn't require that you read only the words, right? We also go through some like diagrams and also the charts, wherein looking at them, you'll get an idea what actually they want to convey. Means it goes with the analysis. Just looking at the diagram, you can justify like what actually it is transferring. I can say it's like non-verbal, pictures, diagrams. The best example is all the students, you will be involved in like flow charts, preparing flow charts or algorithms, and also we'll go with the information transfer like pie charts, bars, tables, diagrams. Just seeing the image while reading, just having a look at them non-verbally, you'll get there. You can analyze what actually it tries to convey you, right? So here, reading, it's not only the process of just looking at the words or rolling down your eyes on the passage, but a, a diagram or a table also conveys a lot of information where the analysis takes place in the student's mind looking at the given diagram or the passage. Now, what is the purpose of reading? Like generally, what is the purpose we read in our day-to-day life? Everyone is involved with something or the other. We read, right? So what we read generally? What is the purpose of reading? So the purpose of reading is to connect the ideas on the page to what you already know. Means you will be having a prerequisite information within you, right? You read to gain extra information beyond what is required. So everyone is involved in the reading. So if you don't know anything about a subject, if at all you start reading, but you don't know anything, then what is the use of reading? So prerequisite information, prerequisite knowledge is very, very important. It is an additional for the student when he starts reading. So then if at all you don't know about any subject, what you're reading, you don't have any prerequisite knowledge, right? Then pouring of words of text into your mind is like pouring water into your hand. Because until and unless you don't know if at all you don't have pre-hand information, if at all you continue the text beyond that, you're unable to understand the subject. That's very important. You should have a prerequisite knowledge before you start reading any other topic. Now, what is actually an effective reading? What is effective reading? Yes, everyone will read. Yes, every student is engaged some way or the other with the academic reading, right? But is it effective? Yes. And how students can recognize whether he is carrying with an effective reading or not. So reading effectively means reading in a way that helps you to understand, evaluate, and reflect on a written text, right? So it's just not reading. The reading doesn't mean that just scrolling down your eyeballs on a given passage without concentration. So here you need to understand effective reading here. It means you need to involve yourself. And this self-involvement is nothing but when you read a passage, you need to understand what is the content. Means you should go the meaning of the lines and evaluate. You should have your own analysis of what actually the passage wants to convey and reflect on a written text. That's very, very important. When the written text you are reading, you should be in a position after reading the passage, how you need to give your own analysis. I can say it is critical thinking, and critical reading definitely involves your own evaluation. Okay, then is reading really important? Yes, of course, reading is important because there is a reason for why you are reading and of what you are reading. You are expecting something from the passage and you want to get some information from the passage, and that's the reason we start reading, right? So is reading really important? Of course, reading is really important. Reading is important because it develops the mind. Understanding the written word is one way the mind grows into its ability. So here, so when you start reading, what happens? Yes, with the prerequisite knowledge, what you already have, you start adding on some information to the knowledge what you gain. Now, when you understand the written words, please try to understand here, reading is just raw, not reading the words aloud. You need to know the meaning of each and every word which is connected in the passage, and also how these interconnection of ideas takes place within the passage. I can say that you need to develop a habit of reading in between the lines. That's very, very important, that you need to practice this source called in between the lines, because understanding the written word is one way the mind grows into its ability. So whatever the words are there as a part of reading passage, that is the primary. And if at all you want to develop your reading skills, effective reading skills, what really is required, you should understand the written word, okay, wherein you should start thinking of the word, what actually the meaning of the word in the context. So you can develop your ability, and definitely you can move forward in effective reading. Reading helps young children to develop then language skills. So why students need to develop reading? That's very, very important, because you need to develop your language acquisition. You need to develop your language skills. And I can say that reading is the best option for any student to improve their vocabulary, to improve their grammar, to improve their contextual meaning, which is really very important for them for further achievements. Either it may be professionally or it may be an personal development. Yes, and it also helps them to learn to listen. So when you know accurately that each word, what it conveys, what is the meaning of each word, definitely you can understand better when a speaker tries to convey you something. So listening skills also can be improved when you are equipped with effective reading skills. Yeah, what exactly is reading comprehension? Now we are into the topic, right? Yeah, what exactly into the reading comprehension? Yes, comprehension is the understanding and interpretation of what is read. So a passage is given, and accordingly you have been asked some questions based on the reading passage, right? So definitely here, what is read? That's very important. When you engage yourself in reading comprehension, you need to interpret the things after when you understand. So understanding and interpretation are the two main, I can say, the criteria where you start reading the passage. To be able to accurately understand written material, student need to be able to. So what he needs, yes, after when a reading passage is given, you know what actually a student undergoes and what students tries to learn from that, and how he tries to answer the questions after the reading comprehension. Yes, decode what they read. So what is this decoding? Now when you start reading for the first time, generally a reading comprehension when given, you read for the first time, you just scroll your eyeballs, right? When you read for the first time, we just scroll the eyeballs on the passage, and you read for the second time, then you slowly start involving. Means you try to know what actually the passage, but not exactly. But when you start reading for the third time, you will be into the passage, connecting the ideas, what actually the writer wants to convey through the reading passage, right? So decode what they read. So decoding is very, very important in the sense, after when you read, you should make analysis of what is the passage, what is the content, what is the contrast they have used, and what actually the passage wants to give the summary. Is it clear? So you have to decode when you start reading. Okay. Now make connections between what they read and what they already know. Yes. I said no prerequisite information. I can say that the knowledge, the prior knowledge is very, very important before you start. So here, make connections between what they read and what they already know. Yes, yes. When they start reading, they try to connect the ideas of what they have and what actually the passage is giving, what sort of information the passage is giving. They'll make with a parallel, I can say, connection, and they try to know what actually the knowledge which they have, the knowledge which they gain after reading the passage. Then the third point, think deeply about what they have read. Yeah, I can say this: critical thinking and critical analysis. It's very, very important for a student when they read something. Yes, think deeply about what they read. Now, what is this deeply? This happens when the students start reading for the third time. Generally, yes, the first I said no, they try to know about the vocabulary. Second reading, they try to know what actually the passage. Third time, they try to know what actually the content of the passage the writer wants to deliver. So when he starts reading for the third time, yes, he thinks deeply about what they have read. Yes, it's a simple diagram wherein I just wanted to show you what reading is actually. Reading is nothing but thinking. If a student wants to develop his reading skills, his thinking ability, definitely reading is a good platform. Yes, when you start reading, maybe any textbook or maybe any novel, yes, you have to predict all these points. You have to make a note of all these points, right? What's the first one? Predict. Yes, seeing the title, we can predict. Reading the first passage or the first two lines, we can predict what actually the passage is about, right? Use clues to infer what may happen. You can think by using the clues what will be the next. Next, infer. Yes, use clues and what I know to make sense of my reading. So what my reading is involved after, what is my reading involved after reading this passage? They can infer meaning. Next, visualize. Visualizing is very, very important. I said, no, when you start reading a novel, yes, you need to imagine that you are one of the character among the novel, and then only you can have a pleasure of reading. Especially when we read novels of, or I can say like when we go with the detective novels, or maybe the ending where you need to, especially the Sherlock Holmes, right? So definitely what we see, we don't know until and last. I hope so that you remember the Hound of Baskervilles, right? Yes, and we have many, many such type of novels where you may be thinking what will be the next. Yes, you can imagine, you can have pleasure only when you create a mental image in the mind that you are one of the character involved there. Definitely you get a pleasure out of reading, right? Now connect. This is very, very important. You should connect the ideas, what actually the writer wants to convey. Use what I know to understand the better text better. Is it clear? I said no. The knowledge which you have and the information what the text says, you need to connect to that. Then question. This is very, very important. Ask questions while reading, wherein you can enjoy and you can take your reading to an extensive level. Is it clear? When you ask question what, when, and where, how, you can search for that information in the reading passage, and definitely you will be more involved with that, wherein you can have a pleasure of reading instead of pressure of reading. I hope so you know the meaning, right? You can have pleasure of reading instead of pressure of reading. So you need to ask a question so that you can involve yourselves in the reading comprehension. Then summarizing. This is very, very important. Yes, each passage, it may have a summarizing, it may have the like a good ending, and sometimes the ending is left to the reader, wherein if at all you say, if you were in the place of the author, how will you end the topic? Yes, in such situations, you need to summarize, right? That summarizing, senior, determining which ideas are most important, consider the main ideas, and you can conclude the topic, right? The next slide will go. Yeah, this is a simple way. I just gave you 2 words of reading comprehension. Simple way of knowing reading comprehension is decoding and understanding. It's very, very important. You need to decode what you read, and you need to go with the deeper analysis. It's called understanding. Then only you can have a pleasure of reading comprehension. Maybe it's for pleasure, or maybe for the purpose of finding some new information. Yeah. So reasons for poor comprehension. So what problems we face and what generally we undergo when we start reading, right? I can say the first one, lack of concentration, or also I can say ambience, right? You should have a good ambience where always it should be encouraging. If at all you're reading and there it plays a loud music there beside, can you concentrate? Yes, here, the first strategy I can say means you are just rolling down your eyeballs over a text, but without concentration. Yes. So what are the few reasons I just want to put in front of you? Reasons for poor comprehension. Yeah. The main reason for poor reading comprehension are, yes, what is, I just noticed few of the reasons. Yes. Inability to understand a word means lack of exposure, proper exposure to vocabulary. Yes. So when you start reading a passage, generally what happens, if at all you don't know the meaning of one word, what happened? Yeah, this is really, I can't understand the passage you say. But the same thing, if at all you search meaning of that word and make a note of that word, meaning of that word, you can simultaneously learn vocabulary and you can involve by having concentration in the text what you are reading, right? Then inability to understand a sentence. Now it's very important. Sentence, when I say, it is called grammar part. Yes. So when a person starts reading, he should have ample knowledge of grammar. That's very, very important, right? So if at all you have a grammar, I can say, if at all you have quite a knowledge of grammar, definitely it helps you to make you involved with the reading comprehension. Next, inability to understand how sentences relate to one another. Yes, now here, when I say relate to one another, I can say you need to read the reading comprehension between the lines. Means you need to connect the ideas to each other, then only you can understand what actually the writer wants to convey. Now, inability to understand how the information fits together in a meaningful way. Yes. Now, inability to understand how the information fits together in a meaningful way. Yes. So when you don't concentrate, what happens? You don't know the flow. You don't know the meaning. You can't connect the ideas. What happened? Definitely, you may mislead the reading comprehension and you may you may have a lack of interest towards what you're reading. The last one, lack of interest or concentration. I just said this point in the first because unless and until you create, you have your self interest and you, if at all you won't have your concentration, definitely you can't concentrate on reading, right? It may be academic reading or it may be general reading. Concentration is really, really important when you start reading comprehension. Yes, this is small strategies I just made down. Like these are the strategies. Each letter in the strategies give one suggestion, give one improvement in regard to reading comprehension skills, right? When you go with this, yes, yes stands for scrutinize paratextual features, like which includes illustrations, graphics, title, and notes. Yes, when you go with scrutinizing paratextual features means go with a similar or in-depth reading, maybe illustration may give, convey something. Graphics also I said no, information transfer. When you look at a diagram, it gives much information. Just looking at that, you can go with your own analysis, right? Which is very, very important, which improves your critical thinking, right? Now, T stands for tie up enunciation clues, right? Means who, by, who to, where, when, and why. Asking questions, which makes reading very good in a very the text to what you know about the subject matter and the text type. Yes, means in between the lines, how the ideas are connected. Yes, the subject matter is connected. You need to relate. This is one strategy. And A stands for analyze the words you don't know. Yes, I say lack of vocabulary, definitely it creates disinterest reading. Now here when I say structure, sentence structure, you always use simple sentences where it carries subject, verb, and an agreement. Please try to avoid complex sentences when you read or when you start writing. Avoid complex sentences. Okay, use simple sentences. And when you start reading, if why the disinterest is created, this is one of the reasons. When there is an improper structure of sentences, definitely a reader deviates from the reading. Next, examine how the text, E stands for examine how the text is woven together. Yeah, cohesion and coherence. These two are very, very important. Either it may be reading or maybe writing skills. Cohesion and coherence, it creates in clarity. I can say one stands for the grammar and another stands for the structure of sentences. The ideas, how it has been woven together, means sequence should be there when you read. That's very important. Then G stands for grip, reference to their references. Yes, you should have a grip when you go with the reference, means you try to know what actually the reference stands for, whatever they have mentioned. Then you can involve with the reading comprehension skills. I stands for, yeah, identify the main ideas in each paragraph. Yes, each paragraph definitely it contains the main idea followed with the sub themes or the ideas which are interconnected to the main ideas. So when you start reading any passage or any novel or maybe any academic reading, try to know the main idea of the paragraph, what the writer or the author wants to convey a reader. That's very important. When you just, I can say, combine the main ideas, you can know what actually the topic is about, right? The next E stands for, very important, explore the author's hidden purposes in writing this text, right? So you need to think from the writer's perspective, what actually he wants to convey through the passage. You need to analyze, evaluate, and go with the critical thinking, which is really, really important. When you explore from the writer's point of view, you can definitely become a very efficient reader, and in turn, you can become a very good writer too, right? Now, sense your feelings, sense your own feelings, right? You need to involve with the topic. That's very, very important. So when you start carrying with the reading comprehension, you need to feel, you need to involve. Yes, reading, as I said, punctuation marks create a very good sense. It creates a very good involvement when reader tries to use that punctuation when he tries reading. Where the comma is there, just pause for a minute. When a full stop is there, just have a one more pause there for a second extended. Then whenever you have exclamatory, because when you read, all these creates a feeling. It's an expression wherein definitely you can involve yourself. So these are the few strategies, right? Now, ways to improve reading. Yes. So those were the strategies, what I said. Now, when you start reading, in which way you need to involve? Yes. So these are three perspectives, what I have given. We'll just go through. Sorry. Yes. Now, these are three perspectives where, if at all, one wants to improve their reading comprehension skills, right? The first one. So first I said, no, we read maximum 3 times when a reading passage is given, right? So for the first time, what for we read? We read for finding out the information, right? So when you start reading a passage, these are small few tips, and these definitely helps you a lot when you start attempt the questions as a part of reading comprehension, right? Now, ways to help find information is the one. And second time, when you start reading, ways to improve reading fluency. And the third one, ways to get more understanding of the text, right? Now, when we start with the first sort of reading, when we read for the first time, right? So what actually we'll be searching? The first one, we need to underlining main ideas and details, outlining, note-taking, listing, ranking, and classifying. Yes, when we first read the passage, we need to underline the main idea. Yes, and also the outline means what actually the passage is trying to give, the information. Note taking. This is very, very important. When you start reading, whatever it may be, right? When you start reading, try to have a book and a pen with you. And when you read, write down what did you understand from that passage in your own words. In this way, you can improve your reading and also the writing, where you can improve your writing skills, which is really very important, right? Reading involves with the improvement in the writing skills too. Then listing, just jot down the points one after the other. Then you can make a sequence of ideas which are internally connected, which gives a complete meaning of what you read. Classifying, right? When you start reading, classify the sentence, like what they are giving, what information they are giving. Classify the information what the sentences are giving within the passage. Now, the second, when you read for the second time, we need to improve reading fluency. This is very, very important. Nowadays, whenever you go, wherever you go, yes, oral communication plays an important role, and reading is the first step to improve your oral communication, because you will come across so many words, and if at all you work on, if at all you know, if at all you try to know the meaning and actual the context of the words, you can easily carry with your speaking, especially the public speaking. Yes, and also the professional oral presentations, it will be helpful a lot for the students. Yes. Now, close, it's not CLOSE, it is CLOZE. Here, in this type of reading comprehension, some blanks will be given, and you need to fill the appropriate words, I mean to say vocabulary, in the blanks which are left quite often empty, to assess your vocabulary. Is it clear? So close reading is one wherein you can improve your vocabulary, which really helpful for you to improve your reading strategies. Next, sequencing, arrangement of ideas. How to arrange the sentences means logically connecting the ideas is very, very important. Then prediction. Yeah, prediction. Now, when we go with the prediction, yes, how will you, after reading, right? After reading some part of the passage, you can predict what actually the passage is trying to convey you, right? Then skimming. Skimming is very, very important, because when you skim, you will try to know the main idea of the passage. You can know the main idea of the passage. Yes, the main ideas. The best example of skimming is reading the newspaper, right? We read newspaper, just seeing the title, seeing the heading. I say no, skimming headlines. Seeing the headlines, you just think whether it is useful for me. If at all you are interested, you continue reading the content. And seeing at the heading, if at all you feel that it is not a cup of tea, then just leave and carry with the other reading perspective. Now, ways to get more understanding. Yes, this is called analytical and analyzing. Ways to get more understanding. Yes, segmenting, titling, labeling, modeling mapping, time charts, flow charts, cycles, and tables. Yes, when you want to involve with 100% in the reading passage, segmenting is very important. Yes, segmenting in the sense how to carry with the correct pronunciation. Correct pronunciation. How you should know how to divide the sounds. It is called phonetics, right? So segmenting here in a sense, dividing the sounds and carrying with the reading. Means you can acquire exact, I can say, the correct pronunciation of the words, which is very, very important when you read. Titling is very important. Read and give a title, suitable title after it is correct. Yes. Yes, then titling, then labeling. Try to give labeling after each reading. Try to give labeling after each paragraph, what actually it is conveying through that passage. Then modeling mapping. You can also go with the mapping, which is the best way to connect the ideas, right? Then time charts. This is another way wherein you can get more information, yes, which carries with your own analysis. Flow charts, cycles, and tables. I can say these are used as a part of information transfer, wherein student can have their own analysis after seeing certain images, right? Next. Now, so what are the techniques? Yes. Techniques to attempt the comprehension. Yes. So techniques to attempt the comprehension. These are the few techniques. Yes. Read the first and the last paragraph in a chapter or the first sentence in each section. Highlight, summarize, and review. Yes. So these are simple techniques. These are simple techniques. Definitely, you can get a clear knowledge of the content of reading comprehension, right? What actually it tries to. Yeah. And last paragraph in a computer, first sentence, highlight, summarize, and review. Just reading a book once is not enough. Yes, please try to understand the need of reading skills. Uh, I'm really sorry that there were some technical issues, right? Just go through this and I just show you the questions asked as a part of the reading comprehension. Just make a note and I'll show you again the reading passage so that you can answer the questions based on the reading passage, right? Then we'll discuss the answers for each question. A small passage is just for an activity wherein you can understand how you need to involve based on the tips and strategies what I have given as a part of the today's session, right? Yes. Yeah. Opera refers to a dramatic art form originating in Europe in which the emotional content is conveyed to the audience as much through music, both vocal and instrumental, as it is through the lyrics. By contrast, in musical theater, an actor's dramatic performance is primary and the music plays a lesser role. Accompaniment of I'm really sorry for the technical glitches. Yes. So from the reading comprehension, also that the reading comprehension was visible to you, right? So we just discussed the answers. It is pointed out that in the reading opera is a drama sung with the accompaniment of an orchestra. Yes, we can understand from the reading that orchestras in opera can vary considerably in size. It is stated in the reading that music in musical theater is not as important as it is in opera. Yes. So now suggest the suitable title for the above passage. When you initially start reading, you can get an idea what the passage is about. So the first line here in the passage, right? What it has given, right? You can see opera refers to a dramatic art form. So the current passage, the title you can suggest is the opera. Yes. Now I want to suggest a few apps, right, which are available on online. Where you can download for free, and it also offers free books wherein you can comprehension skills. Yes, these are few apps for improving your reading comprehension. You can improve your reading skills. Of like apps I have given, like Altico, Book Funnel, FB Reader, Oodle's ebook reader, Overdrive, Prolific Works, Wattpad, Audible, iBooks, Kindle, Kobo, Nook, and Serial Box. All these apps are available for free on online. You can download. You can improve your reading as well as writing. After reading, there's small short stories are also available. You can also write your blogs after when you read. You can download the novels and you can carry a good sort of reading. You can develop reading comprehension skills using these with a critical thinking, analysis, and also the overall development of your own analysis by expressing them in your own words after when you finish your reading maybe a novel, or maybe an academic books. I wish all a very success. And you can see, I just want to end this webinar with a small like quote: think before you speak and read before you think. It's really, really important. You need to think before you speak, and you need to read before you think, because wherein you can broaden your knowledge, which is really, really important as a part of your academics, right? And I would like to thank management of Anurag University, and also head of the department, Dr. Anantalakshmi ma'am, and the organizing committee for giving me this opportunity. Thank you. Thank you so much. Hope so you have means you have come across some tips wherein definitely they'll be useful for you in improving your reading comprehension. Thank you.
Thank you, Archana Madam, for all the amazing tips and inputs on reading comprehension skills. I hope the participants have definitely learned a new method in the area and a new approach in the area called reading skills. Now it's time to highlight and remind the tomorrow's session, which has a topic Be to Become by our resource person, Dr. V. Lakshmi Ramana Madam. Hoping you all have the same excitement and enthusiasm to join the session tomorrow. I thank one and all once again. Thank you. ఎక్కడ ఉంది?